Tappe has just released Arc 8 Chapter 13, and this video will be a summary of the chapter. I highly recommend you check out my Arc 8 Chapter 12 summary. Anyways, let's begin. I did not know you were going to be here too. Rem looks up and sees Emilia and Beatrice arrive. Rem, of course, still feels weird around them, since it's obvious that they're related in some way. Of course, when it comes to Ram, she can obviously tell that they're related due to synesthesia. However, with Emilia and Beatrice, it's not so easy. We see that Rem is outside of Subaru's room. Rem then looks at Subaru's room and notes that Abel just entered the room, and they were currently having a standoff. Rem knew that Abel always wore the Oni mask, but since he took the mask off, he always had a frown, and even more recently, Abel's face was sterner than before. Emilia asks if Abel and Subaru got along, but Rem says no. Beatrice states that she prefers Subaru's sweet way of thinking rather than Abel, noting that Abel and Subaru are like oil and water. Rem says, however, sometimes you need to listen to Abel's side of the story. Rem then calls out to Emilia, but Emilia tells her to call her Emily in Wallachia. Rem, of course, regardless of this naming convention, likes Emilia and Beatrice, since she heard that they entered a dangerous country in order to save her and Subaru, so of course how could she not like them? Not only that, they didn't have a disgusting stench like Subaru did. However, Rem notes that the smell of Subaru is fading. By the way, I'm not exactly too sure what she's referring to here. I think she might have just been referring to when Rem and Subaru got separated, and so Subaru wasn't around, so she couldn't smell Subaru. I don't know, I'm assuming I misread something, or we'll get more clarification later. The door opens and we see Medium appear. We see Medium is back in her adult body, and Medium talks about how good it feels. Medium is of course concerned about Abel and Subaru's discussion, but she knows that Abel will never go berserk. The group discuss how they believe Subaru will eventually get emotional and start fighting Abel. The door then proceeds to open and Abel and Subaru appeared, so obviously they were correct, because we then see Vincent talk about it's the tale of the rude knight who raised his hand against the emperor, and Subaru said he will defend himself in court. Abel and Subaru made eye contact with the group, and the group was shocked since both of them were covered in blood. So they then told Beatrice to heal them, but Subaru raised his palm and said, "Don't worry, they made up." Subaru tries to change the subject by noting Medium's big body, but Abel reminds Subaru that he hit the emperor, and Subaru says that sometimes it's needed. And then Subaru asks Medium if he can hit Medium, and then Abel interrupts him by saying, by the way, your disrespect has gone far, and after the war we're going to have to weigh up your achievements and your punishments and see what happens to you. Beatrice heals their cut hands, and Emilia wipes the blood off of Subaru's face whilst patting his head. Rem sees this and it makes her feel weird. Her heart tingles. Abel states he needs to talk to the main players as they wait for Selena Dracoi. Rem and Subaru state that they need to see Katya. Subaru then enters the room with Rem, and the man says it isn't the place for Subaru, and Subaru calls out to Jamal, the man wearing the eye patch. Subaru asks if he is alive, and Jamal says that Subaru is rude. Subaru met Jamal when he first entered Wallachia, and putting the information together that he gained, Jamal and Katya were related. They were brother and sister. Jamal tries to throw Subaru out, but Katya wakes up and tells Jamal to stop. Katya then sits up and Jamal tells her to not move fast or she will die, and Katya says that she isn't so fragile. We see Rem, who is standing with Subaru, looks into the room, and Subaru apologizes to Katya for not bringing Todd back. Todd and Subaru got into a massive fight of life and death. However, Subaru didn't tell Katya that. Instead, Subaru lied and said that he got swept away in a massive flood. Well, technically, this wasn't a lie because this was the last of Todd that Subaru saw. Jamal grits his teeth. After all, Jamal and Todd were partners. Deep down, Subaru hoped Todd would survive. Todd had no special powers. Being able to turn into a werewolf wouldn't save him from any situation where it mattered. If Todd faced a situation and would die from it, so would Subaru. Todd Fang died in that flood. That was Subaru's conclusion. Katya asks if that was the case, since no one actually saw Todd dying, only that he was swept away. Katya tries to fight against it and she starts scratching her head and crying, but Rem cuddles her and calms her down. Subaru knew the truth though. The person who dealt the finishing blow to Todd was Rem herself. Todd's werewolf form was only broken when he was being submerged under the water. So it seems that Rem did not know that the werewolf was Todd and seems to believe it was like a zombie monster. With that, Subaru states that Todd Fang really did love Katya, and Jamal praises Subaru for doing a very hard job, which is to tell the relative or a loved one that someone has died. Jamal gets asked what he thinks, and Jamal said that if Todd survived, they could laugh about how they both failed to die. But Jamal said that Todd died in battle, so he died in a way of an Imperial soldier. Jamal then said Todd is a tough guy, so he might still be alive. Before that, Jamal then stands up and stares at the ceiling, stating that Todd crossed a more dangerous bridge because he didn't like fighting. Subaru wasn't qualified to point out that Jamal's voice was trembling. He had no right to try and sway the feelings of people who he didn't really know. Subaru left Jamal's room and entered the middle carriage. Roswell appeared and joked that Subaru is smaller, asking if it was the food of the Empire that did it. We see that the cast are on a train, and the train is something only Wallachia have due to their flat geography. We see that the cast are in the meeting room. Ram, Otto and Emilia are also present. Ram asks where Rem is and Subaru explains that she is with Katya. Subaru thought Rem and Ram would stick together and hold hands. After all, he knew that they were quite close before. However, as if reading his mind, Ram states to not force his selfish feelings onto them. They have to take it slow and steady. Subaru jokes to Ram to not read his mind. We see Garfiel is tending to the wounded, and Petra and Frederica are also elsewhere. It seems that they're still fighting with the zombies, and so they're looking after the wounded. Otto asks Subaru about the term zombie, and Subaru explains that it's from where he's from, and Otto comments that it seems that Subaru's hometown has words for everything. We see that the Divine Generals are currently working to help restore the situation against the zombies. Abel then enters the room with Selena Drakoi, Goz, and the Prime Minister. We see that the Shadrakians are not taking part in the meeting, but they will fight when needed. And Goz states he is very happy to be able to fight with the Shadrakian warriors. Abel then tells Goz to shut up. We see that Subaru told his squadron to not be present. After all, they're trying to hand over the throne to Subaru because he's apparently the illegitimate child of the Emperor. So if they were present, they might attack Vincent. Subaru wonders where Lewis is, and Ram states that she is with Flop and Medium, asking what he will do with her, and he says that he'll speak about it later. Ram, of course, was there when Lewis appeared at the Pleiades Watchtower. Naturally, everyone knows the true identity of Lewis. Subaru also wondered where Priscilla and Yorna were, because they were part of the rebellion, so they should be on the train also. However, Emilia states that there are two people missing, and they are Priscilla and Yorna. This was proof that Subaru's side were inflicted with wounds in the battle. And with that, the chapter ends. So, yeah, this is really funny for me because a lot of people, especially in the Witchcott Translation Discord, would always talk about when Todd and Jamal are gonna meet, Jamal's gonna kill Todd. And here Jamal is like essentially about to cry after hearing that Todd died. So I always find it funny, like when you see people online, they're like, oh yeah, Jamal's gonna kill Todd. And here we see that, no, Jamal still considers Todd a really, really good friend. So again, I feel it kind of funny because some people just don't really understand the story. They're not really reading it properly. So this idea of like Jamal killing Todd at this point in the story made no sense. Because, you know, the whole point of Jamal fighting the Shadrakians in Guaral, the whole point of that was to let Todd escape with Rakia. So why would Jamal be mad that Todd left him? You know, Jamal wanted to die in battle. That is the Valakian way. So it was so weird when people were like, yeah, Jamal's gonna see Todd and then kill him for leaving him in Guaral. Like, what? In that whole chapter, Todd literally wanted to run away and leave Jamal to die. He literally said, look, Jamal, if you fight, you'll die. I'll leave you. And that's when Jamal said, no, actually, I'm gonna rescue Arakia. You know, and then Todd's like, okay, I'm gonna help you. So it's kind of weird. But yeah, Priscilla and Yuna are missing. Are they dead? Of course not. Of course not. The world operates in Priscilla's favor. They're not dead. We didn't even see, we just saw Arakia get knocked unconscious. Nothing happened to Priscilla and Yuna. I feel like they're perfectly fine. The only other person that's missing is Cecilus, but we know where he is. He's with Spinks.